Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. Hope y'all are doing well. Um, yeah, uh, well as you can be, given the circumstances, given everything going on. Let's get right into it. We have this video coming out of this farm of a raid in California of a farm. Here, let's take a watch.
Look at this. Federal agents clashing with protesters in Camarillo. Smoke canisters tossed towards the crowd. Dozens of people detained at a marijuana farm.
Live look from Sky Fox, where there is still a standoff between federal agents and protesters. It's been going on for hours, since at least noon. Not sure what we're looking at quite there.
Looks like some of those people that have been detained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been there since at least noon, dealing with the situation here. We've been following this all day.
Yeah, and you get a sense of everything that's going on out there. Good evening. Welcome to Fox 11 News, simulcast on Fox 11 Plus and Fox 11. I'm Alex Michelson.
And I'm Christine Devine. We go live to Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez in Camarillo.
Yes, and we are right in the midst of it. I got to tell you, this is a licensed greenhouse, cannabis complex, one of the largest in California. It's called the Glass House Farms, and that is what's on the other side of where these officers are having a standoff with people who are very, very upset about this whole thing. Again, we're talking about a licensed facility. So what has been happening is an ongoing...
Yeah, licensed facility. Also interesting that they're going after weed farms now, because I guess the the other farmers, the farm for food, um I guess Trump pissed them off too much, and so now he's now he's like, well, we got to use up all this budget that we just gave ICE. we gotta use them for something. So let's go raid weed farms now. Even though it's a licensed establishment and everything. Look, it's not like this is gonna you know it's not like this isn't also going to scare a lot of farm workers from the other farms too. Like the as long as the raids continue, immigrants are going to be scared. As long as you're racially profiling people, immigrants are going to still be scared. Anyway, let's keep watching.
You see more officers coming at us, and let's go to the aerials, because what happens is every once in a while they try to come out with vehicles, and as you'll see from the aerial, people will try to stop those vehicles, to detain, and those vehicles are carrying some of the farm workers who were at that facility. And as that happens, things get very tense, and you end up with canisters of tear gas being thrown at the crowd to actually disperse them. So this has been going on all day. Take a look. The crowd runs as canisters of gas hit the ground off Laguna Road, where protesters have been facing off with Homeland Security officers carrying out an operation at a local farm. The only option is to take cover with protesters behind a vehicle.
Are you guys okay?
Yeah, we're okay.
You're all right? Oh, that's good.
From Sky Fox, you can see quite a few people lined up, sitting on the ground at one of the farms. You can also see more federal personnel using gas to push back protesters who've gotten word of the operation. But more people show up to continue the standoff on one side of the barricaded road and the other, where trucks are trying to get in, even emergency.
This just looks like a fucking military occupation. Like, they've basically found a way, it looks like, to declare a martial law without declaring a martial law. Like, this is insanity. And look where all of our resources are going. It's not to end world hunger. Instead, we're just making it worse, by wasting resources on targeting farm workers. These aren't farms that produce food in this instance, but still, you know, there's also the cuts to U.S. aid, and instead that money is being funneled to this bullshit, to brutality and abuse, not just of immigrants, but also of protesters, of U.S. citizens too. They've deported kids. They're trying to take away newborn citizenship. Like, it's just cruelty for the sake of cruelty. And they think that it's gonna, intimidate people. But really, what it's gonna do for a lot of people is just make them angry. That's what we're seeing with a lot of these protests, is people not being intimidated, but rather just getting angry and getting fed up with this bullshit. So it's, yeah, I don't think this is going to go the way they think it is, and I think we've seen a lot of evidence to that end already, right? Um, just look at the polls, for instance, and how unpopular a lot of this bullshit is. Trump's number one issue was immigration, and I think it's still one of his top issues somehow, or even like or even it might still even be his best issue. But even if it's his best issue, it's like nowhere near as popular as it used to be, because now people are actually seeing what mass deportations actually entail and what they look like, and people aren't happy with this, right? Even a lot of the people that were okay with it because they thought that there were a lot of criminals, or that they were actually going to go with after the criminals. A lot of the more like moderate people and like independents, even a lot of those people have like changed their minds already. Or some of the ones who, even if they even if they're okay with it personally, they might not want that image, and they might want to clean themselves of that image, and they might start denouncing Trump, especially with a lot of this stuff from the Epstein files, right? Like, a lot of his supporters were really, really into uh, Epstein conspiracy theories. So, who knows? Anyway, let's keep watching.
Military helicopters can be seen flying low onto the fields, a maneuver generally.
Jeez. Military helicopters, man. Look at this shit. Like, just look at it. This looks like a fucking war zone. Every day, we get new images that make this country look more and more like a fucking war zone. Like, it's ridiculous. Uh, Especially for, immigrants who, for the most part, like, they don't have resources. They don't have, um, you know, weapons and shit, right? It's like, I mean, I guess maybe some of them might, right? But is I don't know if you can get a gun if you're not a citizen in this country. I have to look that up, but I would assume not, right? Or at least if you're not documented, I would assume you wouldn't be able to get a gun, at least in most parts of the country. Uh, but look at how they're being treated, right? Like, look at this bullshit. What is, like, what justifies this response, right? Literally the only thing I could think of is you literally just have a straight up foreign military, or like just a straight up army, an enemy army on US soil, like an actual, like, organized military. from like a foreign country or like secessionist states, I guess, right? Like, th- aside from that, it's like, why do you have the military here? Why do you have these fucking military helicopters flying around? And why are you using all of this excessive force on these protesters, right? Now, some of them haven't been peaceful. That's, I can recognize that. But even then, like, even the ones that are not being peaceful, it's like, what are they doing? Right? They're throwing rocks at these people with fucking body armor and tanks, right? Like, you know, we did. So I did see a video, to be fair, but that I do want to share with you guys here of a protester firing a weapon at the protest here. Let's give it a watch. It's a quick video, and then we can watch the rest of the other one.
Take a look at this video right here. It appears a protester fired some kind of gun at federal agents. This happened this afternoon. It was a really chaotic scene at the time. A lot of smoke was being launched at the protesters. And again, it appears a protester fired back with that weapon. It looks like he fired at least a couple of times. We have not heard about any agents being hurt.
So, if the rest of these protesters were armed like this guy, maybe I could get some of this. And even then, right? It's like, even then, this guy with his little handgun. We have one dude with a gun. One dude. I found one video of one dude with a gun at this protest. But we got what? The military. We got the National Guard. We got everybody out here. We got everybody out here. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Right? Like, and if anything, this dude's out here with his gun because ICE is being sadistic assholes and violating human rights, and let's call it what it is, committing crimes against humanity. That's what they're doing. That's what violating people's human rights is called, right? A crime against humanity. And they've done this to thousands of people now. And they want to do it to millions, right? Stephen Miller, in his fucking sick fantasies, in his fucking sick whitehead wet dreams, fantasizes about getting rid of every brown person, every black person probably too in this country, right? Every Jewish person too, probably, if he were being honest. Every Muslim. That one you could probably just ask him and he'd be upfront about it, if we're being honest, right? Just look at how sycophantic the Trump administration and MAGA have been with their support of the Israeli genocide against the Palestinian people. And they're treating these people like they're not people. They're dehumanizing them because they want violence. They want to justify ethnic cleansing and, genocide against Latinos and immigrants and they want to justify racial profiling and a caste system, basically apartheid, right? Where you have MAGA, white supremacist assholes on top, and then everybody else beneath them. People that they just don't view as human or as deserving of human rights. And yeah, this is just insane. But let's go back to this video of the raid outside that farm, because I wanted to share with you guys here.
Military helicopters can be seen flying low onto the fields, a maneuver generally used to flush out people hiding. No one on the ground's answering our questions or those of people trying to reach family members who are working at the farms.
My mom was here and I try to contact her, but she doesn't answer me. There's nothing I can really do.
And you can see from Skyfox the breadth of this operation. If you come back here on the ground, what you're going to see is they're beginning to do a secondary line. And this is usually what happens before they start trying to move the crowd back. They're actually beginning to tell some of the people that they got to move back. As a matter of fact, people out here, I was just looking a second ago, I think he moved away, but there's actually somebody here with, oh, here he is, with a leaf blower. And the whole idea of that is to push back the gas, which, by the way, I got hit with it. And I tell you, I've gotten hit with gas many a time. I have never been hit with anything like this. They're putting a little extra something on that because it blinded me in me.
Did you hear that? She said that they're putting something extra in the fucking gas? What is this bullshit? They're just going out of their way to be assholes and to crack down harder and harder and double and triple down. Tom Homan said it in an interview. It was a few days ago, I guess. I didn't save that interview, and I don't remember who it was with. But he was talking about how they want to double and triple down. He literally said that, word for word. We're going to double and triple down. And that's their strategy, right? They're seeing themselves lose their grip on power. They're seeing the Democratic Party and the left regaining power and resurging. Specifically, we have Soran Mamdani and candidates like him who are surging, right? And they're afraid. They're afraid that they're going to lose power come midterms. Donald Trump is probably worried that he's going to be impeached come midterms. And so his strategy is just to double and triple down on his authoritarianism, hoping that by the time midterm comes, I guess, he's fully transformed this country into a full dictatorship to the point where midterms won't matter. Or to where he's able to intimidate enough people to win midterms, I suppose. But that just doesn't work. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of humanity and human psychology. Right? Like, sure, will there be people that will be intimidated? Yes. There will be. There have been plenty, right? We've seen a lot of people capitulate to Trump, especially early on. That's what we saw, right? When people were afraid because they thought that it was over. But now what we're seeing a lot is people, a lot of people have been realizing, wait, he hasn't actually been able to, cement that iron grip on power that everybody thought he was going to have. the cracks have been showing in his administration due, I'd say, mostly due to his incompetence, right? But also, I'd say because of his brutality and cruelty. Because a lot of people are seeing it, and at a certain point, it no longer. I don't want to say it no longer gets scary, but you. Something overrides that fear after a certain point. That's what we're seeing with all these protesters out here. Is sure, I'm sure everybody out there is afraid, but that ain't stopping them, right? From going out there and speaking their mind and standing up for their values. That ain't stopping me and other YouTubers and podcasters from speaking our minds. Because after a certain point, the cruelty just gets to be unbearable. And you decide that you want to do something about it, and that you won't accept it, and you can't accept it. And it looks like more and more people are coming to that same conclusion. Um, but yeah, man, just the sheer cruelty and inhumanity of this administration. Look at what they're fucking doing. They're they're spiking and adding extra stuff to the fucking tear gas to make it more powerful. They're how many videos have we seen of these Gestapo thugs shooting protesters uh in ways that break protocol and ways that non-lethal weapons are not meant to be used, right? That in ways that could actually make the weapons lethal, right? We've seen so many of them shoot protesters in the face and in the head with these rubber bullets, and especially when they do it at close range, and we've seen plenty of instances of them doing that. That can be lethal, and even if it's not lethal, it can be extremely dangerous. And you know, there's just so much of it, right? We've seen reporters get shot or had weapons aimed at them by these goons, right? It's clear too that a lot of them don't even have training or don't have much training, right? Like they have like the basic rookie training. Um, I've heard that a lot of these Gestapo goons are just deputized corrections officers. So basically, wannabe cops that that didn't make the cut. We got these fucking mall cop motherfuckers out here that wanna live out their cop fantasy, and they feel entitled, and they feel like they have all this power, and they're letting it get to their heads. And you see, maybe right now they have power. Maybe right now they have money and all that, but it's quickly all going away. Maybe not the money, but certainly, their power. Because in a democracy, well, just in general, in any country, where does the power lie? It lies with the people, right? That's why revolutions happen. Because if the people get too unhappy, what happens? Eventually they rise up, right? If the government is not functioning and all it is like ex- exploiting people and blackmailing them, that's when you see revolutions happen. That's when you see even the people who are enforcing the laws, even they end up becoming unhappy eventually. Even the soldiers end up becoming unhappy eventually, right? even they realize, like, hey, the economy's going to shit. Even if I get this big fat paycheck, sorry, because authoritarians, what they like to do is they like to give their soldiers or their secret police or their own personal militias. They like paying them well. That's what we just saw with the big beautiful bill, right? We saw this increase in funding for ICE, and we saw uh these big bonuses for them. And that's why, because they have realized that they can't govern properly, excuse me, and they can't solve the issues that are affecting everyday Americans. Because to do that, they would have to challenge their billionaire donors, and they would have to raise taxes on the rich to fund the government and to fund the programs that would actually help working class and poor people and middle class people. And they don't want to do that because they're too greedy, they're too addicted to the power and the money that comes with sucking off billionaires. And so they've decided that instead of doing something about those issues, that they're just going to double and triple down on the use of force to keep everybody in line, even with our empty stomachs and our lack of medicine, and just keep everybody in line and hope that everybody obeys like sheep. And that they can just brute force their way into stability and good governance. Which is, of course, to anybody that knows anything about, politics and the economy, like, that's just stupid. you know? It doesn't solve the issues. At most, you might push them a little bit, you might kick the can a little bit further down the road at most. But this is just a recipe for disaster and instability, like we're seeing here, right? Here, let's watch a little bit more of this video.
I'm hearing the officers are trying to get them to move back. I got to tell you, Ventura, I did check with Ventura County Fire, and what they are telling me is that they have been going in and out. They have been trying to help some of the people who got hit with the gas. They've transported at least 4 people. They also have 2 area hospitals. They have actually transported them, and they also have treated more people here at the scene. And they want to clarify that they're not here with the federal agents. They are here responding to the calls from the people on the side of the road. I should also tell you, I did call the glass house. Somebody answered the phone. They did tell me that on July, I'm going to move a little bit this way because I think this is going to get a little crazy, but that on July 10th, they actually had their other warehouse, their other facility, also a growing facility not far from here that was hit on July 10th. That was somebody on the phone, but they're confirming that, yes, they have.
So it sounds like they're actually specifically starting to target weed farms and specifically this company Glass House, it looks like. And that's interesting. For reasons that we'll get into a little bit later. Actually, they touch on it in the video too. So Here, let's keep watching.
In the area. So let's see what's going on is they're actually asking people to move back, and this may take a little while, but it's an ongoing situation. I can tell you we have been hit with gas at least 6-7 times on this side of the barricade, on the other side even more. At this point we are not, I am trying to get information from the agents here as to what exactly this is about. It is a licensed facility. Is there something else going on that we need to know? Are they looking for someone in particular? At this point we're not being told. Hopefully we will at some point. Live in Camarillo, where this is going to be going on for a while. I'm Christina Gonzalez. Back to you guys in the studio.
Christina, I don't know how much you can answer to this. I know you're dealing so much with what's going on there on the ground. So the Glass House Farms, if you look at their website, they bill themselves as California's best greenhouse cannabis. But we also know cannabis in the U.S. federally is not legal. California, it is. Also, the Trump administration had said that they were going to back away from farms. This is a different kind of farm here.
And that was my question. One of the things I actually sent out an email saying we are asking. We were under the impression that farms and farm workers, they were going to back off that whole thing after the strawberries, and some of the the farm companies were saying we're not going to be able to provide the state, let alone the country, with food. And there was supposed to be some backing off of that. But again, and I want to underline, it is a licensed facility. This is not an illegal operation as far as we know. I know there have been incidents and there have been operations in San Bernardino and illegal grows and some of those places, but this is not one of them. And until they tell us more about what they're looking for, there's really no way to know.
Licensed by the state, who is in contrast with federal law, which says that marijuana is illegal. So that's some of the, just like the battle over sanctuary cities, who has the supremacy here. And who knows if that's what they're going after. Maybe there's something else going on. Have you seen?
That would be a whole new, right. And Alex, that would be a whole new chapter into, I mean, we knew that Trump.
Could that be why they're going after weed farms too now? Not just because they saw that going after strawberry farms and other farms like that produce food. Did they see that was so unpopular that they decided to instead say, well, maybe it'll be popular if we bust a weed farm, right? Even though most people in this country want weed to be legal now anyway. Even though it's legal in California. Look, these are the same people, these Republicans, who for years have always talked about how they love states' rights, how they that's part of the reason why they still defend the Confederacy too, is because, it was about states' rights and we believe in states' rights and that bullshit. And here we have not one, but two issues relating to states' rights where Donald Trump has decided to blatantly usurp his power and take over these states, right? These blue cities and blue states, and impose his will upon these places. When it comes to sanctuary cities and just invading them with ICE and disrupting the economies there and federalizing the National Guards of states without the consent of their governors. And now this, where they're basically trying to find a loophole so that they can bust weed farms that are legal and are licensed, but because I guess they know that it would be unpopular too if they just decided to start enforcing federal laws when it comes to marijuana. Because, like I said, most of the country wants marijuana to be legal. a lot of the states in this country and DC have legal weed. I'm pretty sure Donald Trump promised on the campaign trail too that he was giving in and that he was gonna just say, you know what? Yeah, let's go with legal weed. Didn't he say that at one point too? Didn't he say it was like, oh, this is a hard issue to fight against or something like that? I'm paraphrasing. But he said something like that. And now they're trying to find a fucking loophole to bust legal weed operations and trample upon not one, but two different states' rights issues. Damn, bro. Anyway, let's finish watching this video.
Is Gavin Newsom is going to run, so we knew there were going to be issues. But starting to go after the locally legal marijuana industry, who knows? I mean, that would be a whole new step in that battle.
Well, because
we'll have to see until they tell us
they've
what's
gone after
going on.
the illegal marijuana industry many times, not the legal one before. Have you seen any National Guard troops out there? We know sometimes they're put out to protect. They are.
Yes. No, we have seen Homeland Security and definitely the National Guard come out every time they bring out the vehicles that they're trying to move out. That's when the National Guard moves them. But yes, I've seen them. Definitely. So, yes, we've seen them out here.
We will continue to monitor this and come back to you at the half-hour mark. Christina, thank you for the update right there.
A reminder of why the National Guard may still be here, even though they're not seeing a lot of protests or having to defend buildings. All right. Christina, thank you. Meanwhile, about 30 miles away in Carpinteria, federal agents there were met by crowds as they targeted a cannabis farm also owned by Glass House Farms. Smoke bombs there were deployed to hold back the crowd. Congressman in the area, Salud Carbajal, says he was blocked by agents as he tried to gain access during the raid.
If they want to deport criminals, that's one thing. This is not deporting criminals. This is going after everyday, hardworking immigrants that are here.
So it looks like they're also going after other weed farms. It looks like they decided to target multiple weed farms from the same company, it looks like, too. On the same day. Or, like, within a couple days of each other. Yeah, it actually looks like they're specifically targeting weed farms now. So, that's interesting. I mean, regardless of whatever farm it is, what they're actually doing to the immigrants is terrible. And that's another reason, right? They want to go after the wheat farms because, they want to make the optics look better of like, oh, we're not even going after, immigrants that are actually, on, legitimate farms or whatever, or like producing actual food. We're going after the ones that are producing drugs, and even though marijuana is like a fairly common drug nowadays, right? It's like a fairly widely accepted thing by most Americans and in most of the country, including the fucking capital of this country. It's it's just some crazy ass shit. I don't know how many times I've said that within the last few days. It's been a lot. I know because I've been editing these videos. And I've heard myself say that a lot. But it really is. It's complete insanity. Hey everyone, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can make this channel grow. This has been Revolution Television, where the revolution is televised. Peace.